It's another stormy and gloomy day out here on the ranch, but it's not windy, so I'll take it. Today is actually a really exciting day because we are taking delivery of yet another bull that I bought, and I need to get everything ready for him, and I want to talk a little bit about the method to my madness with all these bulls that I've acquired in the last year. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. The new bull is supposed to get here sometime this afternoon. I'm not exactly sure when, but when he does get here, he's going to be going into the working corral and staying in here for several days. The reason that I'm not just putting him straight into the bullpen or straight out with the weaned calves or something like that is just because when you bring in an outside animal like that, it's not a bad idea to just quarantine them for a little while and make sure no health issues pop up. I mean, we're all familiar with quarantines nowadays, right? So when he gets done with his quarantine in the working corral, my plan is to put him into the bullpen and introduce him to our other yearling bull, and that should be pretty interesting, but we're not quite there yet. The new bull is also a yearling, so he should be roughly the same age as our guy number one here, and it'll be interesting to see how they compare in size. The new bull has been at a feedlot, so I'm guessing he's gonna be a fair amount bigger than the one I've got here, but it'll be kind of interesting to see. Before he gets here, I want to spread the rest of the wood chips that I have out in the working corral here just to try to do something about this mud. I really wish I had a better place to put this guy, but I just don't at the moment. And it's important for me to quarantine him just for the safety of the rest of the herd. So this is just gonna have to work, and he's not gonna be in here very long, just for a little while. So why buy another bull? I've got our Bismarck bull calf that is 6 months old now. I've got number one here. He is about a year, I think. I think he was born, yeah, he's probably like just a year. I think he was born in the beginning of March. And then I'll have our new bull that's also a yearling. As some of you guys will remember, in the past, I've always borrowed bulls from a friend of mine, and it doesn't look like he's gonna have extra bulls this year to be loaning out. The other part of that is, you know, it's really nice of him to do that for me, but supplying me with bulls is not his responsibility. That's my responsibility. So it's time that I start doing it. So this breeding season, I wanted to have 2 bulls that I could put out with the herd. This is sort of an insurance policy. In case something happens to one bull, then you've got the other one to kind of fall back on. Not to mention the fact that it really tightens up calving season, because anytime a cow goes into heat, you've got not only one, but you've got 2 bulls that can detect her. And in the instance where maybe a couple different cows go into heat on the same day, you've got 2 bulls that can cover that. So as we stood before, this guy was gonna be the only bull that I would have had for breeding this year, and I just didn't feel comfortable about that because he's not proven. In fact, I think I will probably take him to get a breeding soundness exam prior to breeding season just to see what's going on here. The new bull that we're getting from Split Creek Ranch has already undergone a breeding soundness exam, and he is all cleared and ready to go. So in the event that this bull isn't fertile or is maybe not as fertile as he probably should be, then we at least know that our new bull is ready to go. When breeding season starts this year and number one and the new bull go out with the cows, that'll be just about time to wean the Bismarck bull calf off of his mom. So once those boys go out, Bismarck's gonna come in to this pen to get weaned. Looking towards the future, the Bismarck bull calf will be ready for breeding season next year of 24, where he will be able to go out with the cows with our new bull that we're getting today. Once I take delivery of the new bull, I will be covered on bulls for at least 2 years. That'll be this year and next year. And depending on how I can manage things, possibly 3 years. So I hope that makes some kind of sense. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I guess what you really need to know is number one here in the bullpen and the new bull will be the breeding bulls for this year. Definitely. The following breeding season in 24, the new bull and the Bismarck bull calf that is still on his mom right now will be the breeding bulls. And then the year beyond that, the Bismarck bull calf and possibly the bull that we buy this year will be used for that breeding season. Okay, so that was a mouthful, I know, but I know I get a lot of questions about what I'm doing with all these different bulls, why I'm getting these young bulls, and how it's all gonna work, and hopefully I've answered that. So before he gets here, I want to get some wood chips in that pen because it's a nightmare. As you guys saw in the last video, the mud is just terrible in there. Let's go get the big blue New Holland and we can start moving wood chips. So my plan here, because I don't think I have enough wood chips to cover this whole pen again, so I'm gonna do a couple piles by the waterer, by the feeder, where I know he's gonna be spending a lot of time, and then probably right in between these two features, I'm just gonna make a big pile, and then he'll always have a dry place where he can get up out of the mud. Kind of with the idea being that he's gonna spread all this out. So I don't know, the mud in here is actually not as bad as it was before I added the first round of wood chips, so it is better. Hopefully adding the rest of these will help it even more. Well, I'll be the first to say this is far from perfect, but I can walk around out here without sinking, so that's good. And I've got a pretty good mound here for him to sleep on or lay down, and he'll always be able to get out of the mud here. We've got plenty around the feeder here as well. Looking at that. So this is our new bull, and we got him from Split Creek Ranch, which is the same ranch that we got our Bismarck bull calf. I've got Jeremy here with me, and I'm hoping, Jeremy, can you tell me a little bit about what I just bought from you?
Sure. So the first thing, we're primarily an Angus breeder. We do have a couple of Sim Angus cows, including one that's Charolais colored because she has a low percentage of Charolais. She normally has black cows for us, and last year she surprised us with a brown calf. So this is the only brown calf we've ever produced. Probably will be the only brown calf we ever produce. But he is out of our own Comrade Cross Upgrade herd sire. So elite calving knees, low birth weight, good growth, good marbling, easy fleshing, and a very maternal pedigree. I have a lot of cows in our herd out of Carnegie Comrade. And Comrade is the #1 all-time selling beef bull at Select Sires, and there's a reason. People love their Comrade calves for their great udders, great feet, great disposition. What you've already noticed with this guy, he's very docile. He is halter broke, so if you ever wanted to throw a halter back on him, that's available. He's not going to get huge when he's full grown. He's more in the moderate frame category with great feet.
So people are gonna ask, what breed is he? Because he's not full Charolais, so right. Which is I think what most people would assume he is by looking at him.
The American Simmental Association allows you to register a Sim Angus as long as it has 1/8 Simmental in it. The rest doesn't matter. I hope I'm saying that right. He is out of a cow that is a Sim Angus cross. However, she has a low percentage of Charolais in her, so she is brown. She's the only brown cow we own. She is primarily an Angus and a Simmental, just a low percentage of Char. This calf is only 1/8 Charolais. I did gene sequence him, and he's a color coat carrier, so he has the ability to transmit the color brown to his progeny. I would expect you're going to get a lot of black calves out of him. He's not homozygous for the color, so he's going to contribute one allele that's black and one allele that may be brown or maybe black. He's a registered Sim Angus. His name is Split Creek Riveter K12. And there's a little story behind that, but I'll save that for another day. But that's his registered name, is Riveter. If any of you guys know Rosie the Riveter from back in the day, we have a sister out of this cow that we call Rosie. So when this cow had a bull, we thought, well, we'll call him Riveter. Fertility in this line is strong. Like I said, you're gonna have a tough time selling the females. You're gonna like them. I just picked him up at Joe Claret's feedlot down in Modesto. Joe raises registered bulls for folks around here, and he complimented me on this guy's feet. He's got great feet, great disposition, and you can see he's in great flesh coming right off of a feedlot. Aren't we all? Yeah. They say the camera adds 10 pounds, so I stopped at Chick-fil-A on the way here so that I could overachieve.
There you go. I'm putting a lot of trust in him right now. There's no escape for me where I'm standing, so he better be gentle.
He's gentle.
Well, there he is. And I'm really excited to put this guy to work, and even more excited to see what kind of calves we get out of him. Like Jeremy said, he is a registered Sim Angus, and what that is he's 50% Black Angus, 3/8 Simmental, and 1/8 Charolais. That's where he gets that white color from. In the past, you guys have heard me talk about the differences between purebred and crossbred animals, and the big advantage to crossbred animals is heterosis, or genetic diversity, also called hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor is exactly what it sounds like. You're taking genetics from two different breeds and putting them together, and when you do that, you get vigorous, more hardy animals. So for a commercial producer like myself, that's ideal. In fact, I've always wanted a crossbred bull like this, but kind of shied away from it like many people do, because usually those kind of bulls don't have genetic predictability or EPD sheets to go along with them to give you some sort of an idea of how they're going to perform. He comes from a reputable breeder, Split Creek Ranch, and they've actually been able to provide me an EPD sheet on him. If you don't know what an EPD sheet is, EPD stands for expected progeny differences, and to sum it up, it just gives you an idea of like what his offspring will be or how they will perform. For example, this is what's known as a calving ease bull. So we know that his calves are not going to be gigantic and difficult for the cows to give birth to. How do we know that? That's because the breeder and the breed associations have been gathering data on the animals in his pedigree or in his bloodline. So when they compile all this data, they can basically make a fairly accurate prediction as to traits such as birth weight. EPDs can predict a lot of things besides birth weight, but honestly, I think that's the most important one to me, because if the cow can't give birth to the calf because it's too big, then all of that other genetic potential really doesn't matter, because the calf is not alive. Let's get the calf on the ground, alive and healthy, and then we start looking at the other things. This bull was born in February, so he is around 13 months old, a little over a year. And it's kind of funny because they weighed him and he was over 1,100 pounds. This guy was born in March, so he's about a month younger, and I would not put him anywhere near 1,100 pounds. I would say he's probably more like that 800 to 900 range, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. So I think my little black bull will fill in and catch up to this guy, but for now, I'm actually pretty happy that there's a significant size difference between the two, because when we're done with our quarantine period here and these two guys go together, the fight will be minimal, I would say, because he's so much bigger that I don't think the black bull's gonna mess with him too much. They might spar a little bit, but I think when it starts getting serious, he's gonna back down and that'll be the end of it. I'm so happy with this guy. I actually bought him sight unseen. I mean, Jeremy sent me some pictures of him, but that just kind of shows you how much trust I have in Jeremy. I knew that if he highly recommended this animal that he was going to be good, and he is. Not only do I think he's put together really well, but he is just so mellow, which is awesome. He's just cool as a cucumber. I mean, I have not seen him get excited since he's been here. Not that he's been here that long, but still, being trailered several hours up into a new environment, you've never been here before, he doesn't, you know, this is all new to him, and you would think that would stress the animals out, and they would kind of display that as in nervous behavior and just kind of acting goofy, but he's not doing any of that. He is pretty relaxed. Well, I'm very anxious to get him out of this pen. The wood chips, I think they actually did help a lot, and he's got a good place to bed down there, but still, this is not really ideally where I want to keep him. And I kind of need this corral open in case we have any calving trouble. So hopefully in several more days, we can get him out of there, get this steer out with those steers, and get the new bull in here with our #1 bull. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.